Hi there, I'm so glad you're here. Listen, this morning I opened a drawer in my kitchen to grab the scissors. And guess what? Not there. Opened the next one, nope, then the third. What I did find was a bunch of random cords, a toy spoon, a couple of dead batteries, and a lid to something I don't even own anymore. And I just stood there. Not angry, not even surprised. Just tired. Tired because I've already decluttered this house. Multiple times. And somehow it still feels like I'm always 2 days away from a mess. If that sounds familiar, if you've ever looked around and thought, why do I have to keep doing this over and over? You're not alone. It's not just about the stuff. It's that feeling of always playing catch up, of never really being in control of your time or your energy or your space. That's why I made this video. I'm not here to give you a perfect system, but I will show you 7 small spots in your home that when you declutter them first, everything else becomes easier to manage. I wish someone had pointed these out to me years ago. Let's start with one I completely overlooked for way too long. Part 1. Let's start with the kitchen where mess starts before breakfast. You know that feeling when you walk into the kitchen in the morning, and before you've even made coffee, your mood dips. Counters covered, drawers jammed, a slow cooker you haven't used in 2 years staring at you from the shelf. Before we get into it, I do want to mention something coming up tomorrow. I'm putting together a list of super simple first-step decluttering ideas, the kind of stuff you can do in 5 minutes without cleaning your whole house or making a plan. If you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, that list might be the little spark you need to get moving again. Now back to this kitchen. What helped me wasn't organizing more, it was removing the noise. Start with the stuff you're not actually using. Not used once. I'm talking about the sandwich press that's a pain to clean, the blender that leaks, the random mugs multiplying in the cabinet. One weekend, I pulled out every cooking gadget and utensil I owned. I only put back the ones I reached for weekly. The rest went straight to donation or into the giveaway drawer. For us, 8 plates are plenty. Everyone has 1 water glass, 1 travel mug. That's it. Same with spices, I tossed anything expired or that I hadn't touched in over a year. Do I really need 3 kinds of paprika? Probably not. And here's something small but life-changing. I started storing Tupperware with the lids on. No more hunting for matching lids under the sink. It doesn't sound like much, but it saves about 5 minutes every time I want to pack lunch. When you declutter the kitchen, you're not just making space. You're reclaiming calm before the chaos of the day sets in. Let's move to the next spot, the one that quietly sets the tone for every time you walk in the door. Let's walk into part 2, the doorway that decides your mood. You ever notice how the first 30 seconds when you walk in the door can set the tone for your whole evening? That moment when you're juggling your bag, maybe a kid's lunchbox, some mail, and you're greeted not by calm, but by a pile of shoes, jackets, slipping off hooks, and mystery items you don't even remember bringing into the house that used to be me every single weekday. And I didn't realize how much it drained me until I cleared it. Here's what helped. I gave our entryway a roll. It's no longer a dumping zone. It's a reset zone. A place where I can put things down without everything feeling like it's falling apart. I started by decluttering the surface stuff. Paper menus, expired coupons, birthday invites from 3 months ago. Recycle. Sunglasses I forgot I owned. Back in the drawer or donated if I never wear them. We also had 4 umbrellas. Only 1 worked. Then I picked 1 spot for each person's essentials. Just 1 hook for a bag or coat. 1 tray for keys. 1 small bin under the bench for gloves and scarves. That's it. If it doesn't fit, it doesn't stay there. The other thing I did, I stopped trying to decorate it like Pinterest. I kept 1 print on the wall and a small lamp for warmth. The point wasn't style, it was space to breathe literally. And the change is subtle but powerful now. When I walk in, even with my hands full, I don't feel like I'm behind before I've even taken off my shoes. Next up, we'll tackle something sneakier, the clutter that hides in plain sight and drives you nuts every time you reach for a charger. Part 3, the hidden chaos in cords and cables. You know what's funny? It's never the big things that push me over the edge, it's the drawer full of tangled cords. The basket of chargers I swear I'll sort out later. The mystery cables I'm too afraid to toss in case they go to something important. and yet I never actually use them. One day I decided no more drawer guilt. I dumped the entire thing out on the dining table and was honest about what I recognized. If I didn't know what it was for, it went in a 24-hour pile. If no one claimed it by the next day out, it went. Now we have one small box, one charger per device, no more backups for backups. Everything labeled with painter's tape and a Sharpie. Not cute, but it works. And it's weird how something that small, a cable drawer, can make you feel more capable, more in control, like you actually know what's in your own home. So far, we've cleared out what we see right away and what's been quietly bothering us in drawers. Now let's walk into a space that holds something a little closer, the clothes we wear, or keep, or avoid. With part 4, the closet that holds more than clothes. After dealing with the core drawer, I felt a little lighter. Until I opened my closet. It didn't look terrible. Nothing was spilling out. But the moment I stood in front of it, I could feel that old heaviness, the quiet pressure to wear things I don't love, or worse, to become the version of me that those clothes belong to. I used to keep outfits for imaginary lives one day, jeans if I lose 5 pounds, tops, dresses for events I never go to. And the worst part? They silently whispered that I'm not enough as I am now, so I flipped it. Now my only rule for what stays, I have to want to wear it today, not someday. Not if I have the right bra, not when I'm in a better mood or a better body. Today, that one shift from guilt-based keeping to joy-based choosing made my mornings easier. Not dramatic, not Pinterest perfect, just easier. And it wasn't about getting rid of everything. It was about not negotiating with myself every single morning. Let's keep going from what we wear to how we take care of ourselves, and why our bathrooms don't always feel like the calm space they should be. By the time we reached part 5, the bathroom that quietly drains you after clearing my closet, I thought I'd feel more put together, and in some ways I did. But then I walked into the bathroom and I realized how often that space quietly wears me down. It's not dramatic, nothing overflowing, but the daily rummaging, the knocking over of bottles just to find the one thing I actually use. It adds up. One morning, I timed myself. It took 6 minutes to get ready. 4 of those minutes spent pushing past products I don't even like anymore. That was my sign. I started small. Just one drawer. I tossed out old mascara, expired lotions, half-used serums I kept out of guilt because they were expensive. If I hadn't touched it in a month, it went. Then I got honest about my routines. I don't need 10 steps. I barely want 3. So I kept the essentials: 1 cleanser, 1 moisturizer, 1 product. I genuinely look forward to using. Everything else, I gave it away or let it go. And you know what? The bathroom feels bigger now, not because I remodeled it, but because I don't walk in and sigh. When that space feels easy to move in, it subtly changes the tone of how I start and end each day. Up next, we'll move into the quiet clutter that lives in our bedrooms and why letting go there feels a little more personal. Part 6 adds a fresh angle. The bedroom that should feel like rest but doesn't. After the bathroom felt calmer, I started noticing how loud my bedroom had become, not with sound but with stuff. Pillows that served no purpose. A chair I never sat on because it was always covered in clothes. Nightstands holding things I forgot I even owned. And the truth is, I kept saying I wanted more rest. But everything around me was shouting unfinished. So I stripped it back. I donated the throw pillows that ended up on the floor more than the bed. I cleared off the tops of our nightstands, just a lamp, a book, and my lip balm. That's all I actually use at night anyway. The chair. Gone. Now there's space for nothing. And that space is doing more for my sleep than any lavender spray I've ever bought. And I realized this, my room didn't need to be beautiful. It just needed to not remind me of what I hadn't done yet. So far, we've been clearing what we see every day. But next, we're going into the place the most people avoid, the things we keep in storage just in case. Then in part 7, the storage space full of what if. Once I cleared my bedroom, I felt like I had space to breathe. But then I opened the hallway closet, and I'll be honest, it felt like opening a time capsule I didn't ask for. Paint cans from a project we never finished. Hobby supplies from a version of me I thought I'd become. Decor I thought I might use next season. Baby gear. Old rugs. A sewing kit. A glue gun. You name it, it was in there. And the worst part, I wasn't even using the space. I was just avoiding it. So I asked myself two simple questions. If I saw this in a store today, would I buy it again? If someone else could use this right now, would I rather it sit here untouched? Those two questions cleared half the closet. We kept one extra guest pillow, one bin of seasonal decor, one toolbox with only what actually works. And the rest, I let it go, not because it wasn't valuable, but because it wasn't valuable to us anymore. Clearing storage isn't about making space for more stuff. It's about not filling your life with maybes that hold you back from the life you're actually living. And once I had space to see who I've become, not just who I used to be, I started noticing a different kind of clutter. Not on shelves, but in my screen, in my tabs, in my brain. Part 8. The things that remind us who we used to be. Once I cleared out the storage closet, I came across a different kind of clutter. Not junk, not trash, but things that held pieces of who I used to be, or who I thought I might become. Old journals, scarves from trips I barely remember, candles I never lit, a camera I stopped using, trinkets from people I'm no longer close with, half-finished craft projects from a season where I thought I'd have more time. Nothing in the pile was useful anymore. But that wasn't the point. The hard part wasn't deciding what to toss. It was letting go of the stories attached to them, the versions of me I once wasn't or hoped to be. Here's what I did instead of forcing a decision, I let myself feel it. I picked up each item and asked, does this still feel like me? And more often than not, the answer was no. I kept a few things. A necklace my friend gave me when I was going through something hard. A scarf I wore every day in my first apartment. A photo I'd forgotten about but still makes me smile without explanation. Just a few. Enough to honor the past without letting it take up all the space. Because sometimes letting go isn't about clearing the object. It's about accepting who you are now and not waiting to become someone else first. And once that space is cleared, there's one more area I always forget until it starts stealing my energy quietly every single day. Part 9. The screen clutter no one else sees. It's funny, once the physical stuff clears out, the digital noise gets louder. Not literally, but you feel it. The pings, the texts, the 2700 unread emails, the folders you can't name anymore, the apps you open out of habit, not because they help, and somehow it makes your mind feel messy even when the room is clean. I used to ignore it. I'd organize drawers, color code baskets, wipe down counters, but I still felt scattered. And it took me a while to realize why I never logged out. So I started treating my phone like a physical space. One weekend, I deleted every app I hadn't opened in a month, no second guessing. I unsubscribed from email lists that gave me nothing but a tiny dose of guilt or comparison. I even moved my social apps off the home screen. Not gone, just harder to reach. And for the first time in months, I wasn't grabbing my phone every time I felt a little bored or anxious. The quiet felt weird at first, but then kind of peaceful. Digital clutter is tricky because no one else sees it, but you feel it in your shoulders, in your sleep, and your attention span. And sometimes cleaning your digital life isn't about discipline. It's about creating just enough distance to remember what calm feels like. Next, we'll move into the final space, a kind of pause. Not a fix, just a place to land. Part 10. The pause that reminds you it's working. By this point, you might be feeling a little lighter. Not because everything's perfect or every corner is done, but because something inside you is starting to shift. A little more space, a little less friction, a few decisions made that you used to avoid, and that counts. We don't talk enough about the in-between part of decluttering, the part where the mess isn't gone, but the weight of it has changed. The part where you open a drawer and don't brace yourself, where you breathe deeper, walking past a space that used to stress you out. That's where we are right now. Not done, not starting, just in motion. So if this is the point where you feel like stopping, you can, and still call it progress. Or if you've still got some momentum left in you, I'll take you into one final space, not a room, but a mindset. One that quietly helps the whole house stay lighter longer. Part 11, the mindset that holds the calm in place. At some point in this whole process, I realized something important. My home didn't stay messy because I didn't clean enough. It stayed messy because I kept letting everything back in. I said yes to things I didn't need. I kept items out of guilt. I made space for just in case more than for rest or clarity or actual joy. So here's what I started doing, not once but every day. Before I bring anything into the house, I ask, will this add to my life or just my laundry? When I feel the urge to save something just in case I ask, will I really miss this or just the idea of it? And when I'm tempted to do it all in one day, I remind myself, a calm home isn't built in a weekend. It's built in the tiny, boring, invisible moments I choose less. This mindset isn't about minimalism. It's about margin space, to live space, to breathe space, to not feel behind all the time. And once that clicks, the clutter doesn't stand a chance. You don't need to do everything. You don't need to finish. You've already started. That's enough. Even one drawer, one shelf, one quiet shift in the way you see your space, it all adds up. Because this isn't just about clearing things out. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, your peace of mind. It's about walking into your own home and not feeling behind. And if just one of these parts helped you feel a little more in control or even just a little more seen, then that's already a win. I'll keep sharing these small steps, gentle shifts, and honest reminders because you don't need a perfect home. You just need one that supports you. If this video helped at all, feel free to share it with someone who needs it or subscribe if you want more space in your home and your head. And I'll see you in the next one. Probably with a laundry basket in hand, but still breathing easier.